Hello everyone. Good evening. Is the sound not coming in? Hi everyone. Tag your friends, tag your sisters, tag your brothers. You know it was because of that. Hey, there's no need wasting time, oh. Ha. No need wasting time, oh. Our Omalicha. I'm going to give her a new name today. Should I send an invite or add? How do I invite right now? Is it here? Sis, can you just send me an invite so I can add you? Good evening. I think I need an invite. Maybe you can just... Yeah, good evening. Good evening. Let me know where you are watching from. Someone else is sending me the invite. Good evening from Zambia. Good to have you. Duchess _ Osato. I had a hectic, busy. I'm in class. So I'm taking lectures from Oxford University. I'll write my answers. It will just wipe twice. It's been hectic. So once we are done with this live, I'm going to go back to class again. I want to send an invite. Search. Go. I've sent an invite. I don't know what's happening to... Yeah, good evening, everyone. Let me know where you're watching from. Fumi from Derby, UK. How are you? Let me know where you are watching me from. I've sent an invite to our special guest. I've sent an invite. Let me send again. Okay. Invite to join. Okay, I've invited her. Yay!
I says, please give me a second. Let me
So there is this name that is called Omalicha. Omalicha is like the general name, like one person we can find pass everybody, and then one person now take all the beauty and put on what Pastor M. Pastor M. Somebody's always saying, "Wow, man, reunion."
I'm telling you, that's what it is. Reunion, that's what it is.
Pastor M. Well, let me. She's fine. One auntie, She's a fine one, Auntie Choma. Okay, God bless you. Great women of God. Hyper. Ashu hyper. Omalicha. Omuma asaho.
God.
Obiageli ako. Odozi ako.
Mr.
Nwa
Lomodeus.
mara mma. Adoma. Adamma. Nwanyi magide
Hey, my
mma.
network.
Magide mma. He can't find. He can't get shape. Can't get anointing. Hey, Pastor M, only you. Okay, let me introduce Pastor M in my own way. You know, the definition of Jesus is an encounter. If you haven't encountered him, you can't define him. For me, Pastor M is one lady God introduced to me as his mouthpiece. You know, some people answer prophetess on their own, like they call themselves, but for her, that's how God introduced that to me. We first met in Cappadocia. Before Cappadocia, I've watched a lot of her videos, been blessed, so many of them. But when we now met, the person I've been watching is not the person I saw. You see, the camera has a way, and the anointing has a way of making us look like we are one hard, especially when you're delivering one powerful message like that. People will think this one is so hard. I met a very soft, beautiful child of God. Honestly, that's what I meant. And I met someone quite different from the microphone. And then when I was ministering, by the time I was done, Pastor M came. There's nothing anybody would tell me about her, or she would even tell me that is contrary to what I encountered, even if she does not agree that she's the mouthpiece of God and that she should be called prophetess. That's how I got to know her. She started telling me mysteries. She didn't know what she was telling me, but I knew, because these were the long, over all the, in fact, anytime I would ask myself, God, he will speak to somebody. That was what he did. God did to me in Cappadocia. So I thought I was coming to be a blessing to people, but God was bringing me to answer the question I was asking him. She spoke again, and she said, immediately I heard, thus said the Lord, my knees were on the ground. I had to kneel immediately and receive that word. I thought that was done. On my birthday, my spiritual mother, Reverend Chinyere Madoba, she didn't say it, she wrote it. So it wasn't like what she said, and I cannot remember. It's what she wrote. I can actually get it on my phone and read it. Then you go to Pastor M's life on that 23rd. You will listen to the two of them, spot the difference. Not one. Not one. So that's who we have here. For me, when she talks about tribe, I don't know which tribe. Don't put me in Nigerian tribe, though. I don't want Nigerian tribe.
You are global now. You are the global.
Put me in any of them. So with a clapping ovation, thank you for calling her that name. I met her and I know her as a prophetess and my own tribe. Honestly, she's sweet. She's beautiful. So let's welcome Pastor M. Pastor God bless you.
I've told you before, energy is not nobody else has it. The person that is and laughs with you when she gets on the stage.
The two encounters.
You. want to be here. Like someone said, it just feels like one man
I
reunion.
know.
Had some
I know.
over the last couple of weeks, and I'm just telling people that I don't know how anybody can have missed any of those lives. And if even you missed it, you need to catch up. You need to catch up. And I like the fact that it is real people, real God, real issues. I really love that because I think that's what's missing today. A lot of people think the Bible is not real. They think the Bible is just, stories that have been passed down, not knowing that we too are writing our own parts of
I
that scripture.
know.
We did, so it's just great to be here, Sha, and I'm really excited about this evening. Very excited.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, where do we start from this evening?
Anywhere. Like for next month, which is March, the people that will be there is I've already called a senior pastor of House on the Rock, 19 years, no child. Today, father of quadruplets. So it's going to be for next month, it will be all the women, all the people that have had encounters of childbirth, so that people can learn from us. Any angle you go, we just want to hear that new issue, the way God gave you wisdom to handle it, and which has made him to be the real God that we know. So any angle we are good.
Okay, so to be honest, I don't even know where to start from because my life is a story of God, literally a story of God. Everything about my life has just been God Himself personally. Okay, I hear my mom told me that when I was born, a lot of good things just started happening for them. So there was just a lot of miracles were unleashed,
Yeah,
properties that my family couldn't sell for years. The day I was born, in less than a week, it was done. Promotion that my dad had been trying to get. The minute I was born, the promotion was out. My mom had been trying to get her,
yeah,
let's go and do a degree, a post degree abroad or something. The minute I was born, all of that happened. And so for that,
yeah.
they called me Isioma, which means good head. So
Okay.
I am a favored child, and I've always and has been mighty upon my life. So from a very tender age, I'm just going to share my story and some of my encounters with God. So from a very tender age, I had a hunger for God. Before I knew
Yeah,
and knew that I knew there was God. I knew that I loved Him, and I knew I wanted to get to know Him more. And I was raised in a Catholic family, so my parents were Catholic. So I tried everything, tried learning the rosary, tried going for catechism, tried even joining Legion of Mary. I tried a lot of things, but I knew that I wasn't it, and I knew there was more. I knew that there was more. And at some point in my life, I think I had just turned 5, and that's when my younger sister was born. Um, at that point in time, I moved quickly from being the last born to becoming I mean just becoming second, like how someone just comes and kind of like just displaces you. So for that reason,
yeah,
I'm struggling with my self-esteem, and I had that struggle for a long time. People would say I was beautiful, I didn't think so. People would say I was smart, I didn't think so. I just somehow, Satan just started putting in that, when it starts making you feel like you are not you are nobody. Satan was really trying to make me feel like I was nobody. And now in retrospect, I look at it and I understand that he may have gotten a glimpse of where God was taking me in my life. And so he wanted me to question that. And so he started fighting from when, you know, very young and when I was little. And I feel like that's what happens with a lot of people. Satan doesn't fully get the picture, right? He doesn't fully know where you are going. He just has a glimpse. He did that with Jesus. He did that with Moses. He knew a deliverer was coming. He didn't know who the deliverer was. And so he started killing all the boys. And so he kind of did the same thing with me. He just made me start feeling like you are not good enough. You are not worthy. You are not, you are not important. You are not special. You are easily forgotten. And so all those things started staying in my head. And so it affected me as I was growing up. I started thinking, oh, there's nothing special about me. I don't have anything to give to the world. But as that was happening on the side, I got born again. And my salvation story, interestingly, I used to think it wasn't spectacular, but I've come to realize sometimes we miss God because we're looking for him in the spectacular when he's really always there. And so I used to be very sickly, which was another thing that happened for me. I was very sickly as a child. Asthma, I was always in and out of the hospital for typhoid and malaria. I was always on admission. At some point, in fact, my story plenty, my sister. At some point, I think it was so this happened. So I was sick. Okay, let me tell the salvation story first. So I was sick. I was very sick. One of my friends now came to meet me. I was lying down on my bed, very sick. One of my friends came to meet me and said to me that, do you know that you can be healed? And at that time, we're maybe 13, 12. I can't remember how old we were at the time. A small girl, my classmates, came to me and said, you can be healed. I can pray with you and you'll be healed. I say, my sister, anything that can remove this sickness from me, please, just do it. So she said, oh, but I need to give my life to Christ. I said, that's easy now. It's not Jesus that we're all following. What again is more than, let's do this. So she led me through the salvation prayer, then laid her hands on me, prayed for me, and I was healed instantly. Pastor Chuma, I'd never seen anything like that. My first encounter with God, I was instantly healed. I got up from that bed, ran for one of my friends, because I realized that I had just encountered something. How can I keep that a secret? So I ran to that my friend, and I called her outside, Mabel, and I said to her, Mabel, say after me, Lord Jesus. Say, Lord Jesus, come into my corridor. I led her to Christ there. I didn't even know anything. I didn't know more than that. We both got saved, and then from there I started following Christ. And one thing I found out was that God would always open my eyes to the scriptures. He would always speak to me. Sometimes I would be praying. It would feel like I literally would feel God hug me. God was real to me from the minute I gave my life to Christ. So that thing that I had been looking for, that I'd been searching for as a 5-year-old, somehow everything just came into place. But of course, I still had my issues with self-esteem and I was battling it. So at some point in JS3, I was sick again. So they took me to the MRI room. I went to military school. So they took me to the medical room. And while I was there, we had a new matron. The woman came in. And then as she came in, she said, all the children, it was like a few weeks before exam, all the children that are here, people should get ambulance and take them all home. So the one of the nurses that was there was like, no, they're all pretending, exam fever. So they looked for the children that were all on drip, that was really bad. So they were all moving everybody into the ambulance. So I was still there. The woman just turned and said, let this girl go home. The other woman said, no, let her not go home. Her own is not that serious. The woman said, I said, let everybody go. So they just pushed me inside the ambulance. So they were dropping off, because I was the last to go. My name was not on they had a release form where they had all the parents' addresses. So my name was not on that form. My name was not on that list. So they had dropped everybody off. The 2 soldiers in the ambulance now said, we don't have your address. So where are we supposed to drop you? So I said to them, I was so weak, I was so sick. I said to them, my dad works at 40 Marina. They say Lagos Island. We cannot drop you in Lagos Island, though. That means we'll take you back to Ipaja. So as they said that, because my voice was not, the man said, is there anywhere else? But he couldn't hear me. So I sat up so that I could speak. So as I sat up, I looked out the window. We were passing my mother's school.
Wow.
I just said, that's my mother's school. They said, where? I just pointed like this. They turned the car, drove around. Immediately, They called my mother. But from that minute, I fainted. I was in a coma for 7 days. From that minute, so when I came back to myself, they told me that my mom said immediately she came down, I fainted in her arms. They rushed me. Was there for 7 days. I honestly didn't know what was going on. When I came to, it was as if I had to learn everything. I had to learn how to eat again. I had to, for someone who had not done it for 7 whole days. I came out of that. Then I knew something. I knew that Satan was after my life, but I didn't know why. I had no understanding of why did he want me dead? Because if that woman had not resumed that day, Pastor Chema, I would not have been sent home. If that woman did not insist that I should be sent home, even when the other woman was saying, no, she's not that sick, they should send her back. If that woman did not insist that I should be sent home, even without my name being on the list, Pastor Chema, that's how I would have died. So I knew there was something about me, because there were so many times I would say that God's hand is not normal. It's a life. This life is not. I know that things that should happen for other people and they will just die or something will happen. My own was always different. And I just understood that, I'm walking in the favor of God. But why? Why does God want me alive? So I got into university. And that's where the real journey began. And that's where the real journey and the challenges and the everything came.
Everything started.
So I got into university. First year university, my period starts and refuses to stop. I'm bleeding. I bled for 3 months straight.
Wow.
Then we have strike. I go home. I moved from one fatty body that came into school to one thing. I was so skinny. They rushed. I got home during the strike. I told my sister that I want to tell her something, but I don't want her to tell anybody. My elder sister Uchi. I said, I don't want you to tell anybody. She said, I can trust her now. Don't be secret. Waiting happen. I say, I've been on my period since so, and the period used to stop 3 months. I've not finished talking. This girl just shouted, Mommy, is your mom wants to kill herself? Mom! That's how they rushed me to hospital. I got to the hospital. I lay down. Doctor was doing scan. He would do scan. He would do.
Wow.
When CMD shaking head on your matter, you know that there's problem. My mother in, and I says to my mother that this girl has polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that the problem is that she may never be able to have a child. It comes with all these complications. She has said a lot of things, but from other things stuck. She may never be able to have a child. From that point on, I became the woman with the issue of blood. I was bleeding. If I do not take drugs and my period is on life, the only thing that breaks my cycle is when I'm on medication. So they put me on medication for years. I was on medication. I'll go from this hospital to that hospital because it was going to be frustrating. In fact, at some point, there was one time in school, I fainted. They had to bring ambulance. All those embarrassing drama, all those kind of things were happening. But of course, my journey there were so many times I would just be in class, I would just black out. I'll be in sports center in Ife because that's where we used to go and pray. I would black out. I would just collapse. So from doctor to doctor, I'll travel from this place to that, and the same reports. You have polycystic ovary, but you have unexplained uterine bleeds. They couldn't find why I was bleeding. There was no fibroid. There was no polyp. There was nothing, but I just kept bleeding. Nobody could explain it. I went from different doctors, hospitals, different ones. They'll pump me with hormones, pump me with injections, drugs, all kinds of things. So towards my final year, God started showing me pictures out, so I had this thing. God gave me an instruction that year into my final year, every night so sports center in Ife, I went to OAU. In Ife was like a spiritual place at the time. That's where we used to go and pray. So you go there, you see other Christians praying for hours. There was always somebody praying, whether it's morning, afternoon, night. So we used to go and pray. So I had this. God gave me this instruction that every day till I left that school, I should pray from 11 11 into the morning, so 11 p.m. into the morning every day. So I would go there and pray. And if I was relatively safe, when you finish praying, you throw.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but no shaking. You see, why this kind of meeting is so important is because I've had a lot of people who say, "How did she know that that's what I'm going through?" So everybody just pay attention. She's been talking. She said so many things, that we should hold on to, and then we'll see the twist and how she held on to God, and God came through for her. Yes, we must learn. Thank you.
So so I don't know when this thing cut off, but I think I was talking about when God told me, God showed me, gave me a candle, like there was a candle.
A candlelight. Yes, yes.
Then I noticed that there were other people, other women in the room, and they started taking light from me. And as we were taking, and they were taking lights, and they were lighting other people. It now occurred to me that I was standing like in a huge stadium, and there were so many women inside. And at first I didn't understand it, but it occurred to me. So I started talking to some of my leaders and some of my mentors, and they were telling me that, oh, this means that you're going to do great women's ministry and all that. So I would laugh about it. I'm like, women's ministry. Me, I go first like women now before I go do women ministry. Are you sure God is calling me to women ministry? Okay. I went through that journey. And when I now started getting, so I started getting all these visions and everything, and I started getting very serious with God. And then because, like I said, I was from a Catholic home, I started having internal persecution. So my mom would say, you're not going to any church but Catholic church, you're not, and they should give me trouble, those kind of things. But you see, what now happened for me was that God gave me wisdom, and I don't know whether there's anybody that needs to hear that tonight, but I need to share this with you. When I started having, that internal persecution, my mom said, give me stress about going to church. You must go to our church and all those kind of things. I didn't start acting rebellious. I didn't start acting rude. I didn't start giving them problem. Now, God gave me wisdom. I started praying about it. And that's one thing we must know. Once there's a challenge, you must always first go back to God. He always has the solution. So I went back to God and I said, well, you say I should grow in the things of God, and I cannot grow here. So what do you want me to do? And you are the same person I say, honor your father and mother. So there has to be a way, And then God now brought to my attention that my parents have a problem with me going to church on Sunday, right? But they don't have a problem with me going out. So it said to me, when you wake up in the morning, and we used to go to first mass, 5:30 a.m. mass in my family, do all my. That's what Satan they do. They fear me. That's what they do. When my matter come out, like it's only body go to gyrate. It's a liar. We keep coming back. Come back now, you go tire.
We must hear it. We
Mm-hmm.
must be delivered. We must be blessed. He's lying. So no giving up. If you know how my own network is, I'm in school. I'm taking a course in Oxford University. Today, I had 4 questions to answer. I pray 6 a.m. every morning. By the time I was done, I settled down for these questions, answered all of them. They disappeared today. I was crying because I did 4 hours research too. I gathered myself again and I started doing the second one. Immediately I finished, my husband called someone, gave me the phone to talk to the person. My finger touched on delete. That's why I'm laughing. So there's something about today. He deleted. I said, if I let me go downstairs and make fresh vegetable soup after making it. So that's actually why I'm laughing. So today is
Well,
a deliverance day for somebody. So even if we come back 10 times,